Okay, example 2, same type of problem, same issue. We have denominators of 7, 2, and 3, and there is an equal sign present, which means getting rid of fractions is legal and advised. So the least common denominator of 7, 2, and 3 is what?
21.
No.
Just kidding.
42. 42. Okay, so if you can't figure out a least common denominator, you can just do this times this times this. 2 and 3 is 6 times 7 is 42. That's a common denominator. It may be the least common denominator, it may not. Like going back to this last one, 2 times 4 is 8 times 6 is 48. It's not the least common denominator of 12, but it's a common denominator to work. So if you can't figure out a least common denominator, just multiply the denominators there, that'll work. But in this case, they happen to be the least common denominator. So 14 and 3 is 42, so times 42 is going to be the magic fix here. And going back to Amber's thought, when we multiply a fraction, if we divide first, multiply the result times the top, that's the easiest way to do this. 42 divided by 7 is 6. 6 times 2x is 12x. 42 divided by 2 is 21 times 3 is 63. That has an x on it. And 42 divided by 3 is 14 times 1 is 14. Okay. Least common denominator multiplied by an equation is going to create an equivalent equation that has no fractions in it. And then at this point, these both have x's, that doesn't. So these subtract, I get negative 51x is equal to 14. Divide both sides by negative 51. And I do expect you to reduce fractions to the lowest terms whenever possible. The way you determine if something has a reduction possibility, if you look at the numbers that evenly divide in the top, 14 is 2 and 7, right? Think of all the prime numbers. Only even numbers divide by 2. 51 is not even, so it doesn't divide by 2. And 7 times 7 is 49, times 8 is 56. Skips over 51, right? So it doesn't divide by 7. So that is already reduced to lowest terms. The minus sign is allowed to be on the bottom of the fraction. It means the same as negative 14 over 51. It doesn't matter where the minus sign is. But again, minus 14, 51, 51st is the right answer to this problem. Much easier to solve in that form than it would be to solve in the fraction form. Just to give you an idea, if I kept it all in fraction form, watch what happens. The common denominator of these two is 14, right? So I make this 4x over 14 minus 21x over 14 equals 1/3. So negative 17x over 14 is equal to 1/3. Then you got to multiply by the reciprocal of negative 14/17. It gets me x equals, and then of course negative 14 times 1 on top, 3 times 17 on the bottom. Same answer. Just got to deal with the adding the fractions correctly, multiplying by a reciprocal instead of just dividing by a number. It's just a lot easier to get it down to integer form. It's worth doing every single time.